first match that was named for WrestleMania 34 on Monday Night Raw is going to be the Intercontinental three-way. It's going to be The Miz defending against Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. Finn Balor and Seth Rollins are two guys that have really sort of tied themselves together. Both guys are former champions and leaders of the Monday Night Raw locker room, as well as being two of the forefront future stars of WWE that are going to be the true main eventers that push this company to whatever heights that they believe that it's going to be at. The way the stars aligned this year, there are no main events for Finn Balor or Seth Rollins. In my opinion, I'm a bigger fan of Finn Balor than I am of Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins was an awesome heel when he had that first championship run after WrestleMania 31. And he was one of those guys that I honestly at the time really hated. And it took until his injury when he left for me to really realize how much I might hate the character and I might hate all of the disqualification finishes that came along with it, but I really missed the character and I really liked his in-ring work, and I thought that he really was a good worker even though they were giving him bad finishes along the way. Finn Balor is a guy that I fell in love with. I bought the hype on him coming to NXT. A lot like when Daniel Bryan debuted on the first season of NXT with Chris Jericho, where they had the match on the opening night. Everybody talking about how great of a worker he was, and I really was like, well, if everybody loves this guy so much, I want to see why they love him so I can love him as well, because people are saying how good this guy was when he worked in Japan, how good this guy was when he worked at Ring of Honor, and I went out and I did the work, and I found DVDs of his best ofs matches that he'd had, and I made sure I watched those to be able to be up on how big of a fan I was with him. And that's the same way I was with Finn Balor. When he was coming to NXT, I wanted to see what the buzz was. And of course, he made that first entrance on his first NXT takeover, coming out as the Demon. And I mean, that was bigger and better than almost anything I ever thought that they were going to do with this guy. He became NXT champion, and it seemed like he honestly held the belt a little bit too long, to the point where people were ever wondering if he was ever going to make the main roster. When he was promoted to the main roster, they gave him the belt smack dab right off the bat. And he had the injury, took it out of action. And I understand when some guys come back from injury, they wonder if this guy has the injury bug, and can they push this guy, because you have to wonder when the next injury is coming. I know that when they did the Raw 25 from the Hammerstein, and they had the whole Balor Club and DX meeting inside of the ring, and Triple H brought Finn Balor forefront and basically was saying, this is my guy. Maybe we have to wait to the point of when Triple H takes over, but I'm still that guy right now who's just basically saying, I want to see it now. So being able to see Balor and Rollins, have their matches on Monday Night Raw that led up to the Elimination Chamber, seeing them battle in the Elimination Chamber, even though that match wasn't really based on them, and that story was about how good Braun Strowman is and how Roman Reigns is able to overcome the odds to setting up the main event of WrestleMania this year. And both of those guys were able to be in the chamber, be believable, to the point where you had to have that question mark in your back of your mind. Like, there was people who knew that Roman was going to win it, but you can make a claim, even if it is only a 1% chance, that WWE would change their mind and listen to the fans, and Rollins and Finn Balor had to be a pick of somebody that you're going to be there. I know that I've talked about these two guys for a long period of time, and I'm forgetting to talk about the Intercontinental Champion, The Miz. The Miz is the guy, man. He is good. I don't care if you talk crap about this guy's ring work. I don't care if you talk crap about the way he runs his mouth. I believe that The Miz is right up there in the category with being one of the best guys. You can talk about the fact that Rolling Stone named him the best wrestler of 2017, and he loves to talk about that, and he'll rub that in your face all day long. But I really believe he has the stuff to back it up. And, he had his time, back in 2011 when he was champion, and he got the main event WrestleMania, even though he was sort of like the asterisk of the match. Even though it was The Miz against John Cena, that match was basically trying to tell the story setting up WrestleMania 28 with Cena versus The Rock, and it wasn't time to have that match. You had to build it and make people wait that year to make WrestleMania 28 as big as it was. Since then, when it comes to WrestleMania, The Miz has wrestled on the pre-show. The Miz has wrestled in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. He's wrestled on the pre-show. He's been a member of a tag team. Seeing The Miz be able to have it's a triple threat, but have a singles match where the spotlight is going to be on him coming down to the ring as champion, as a Miz fan, I believe is awesome. Awesome. And I think this is going to be really, really cool for all the parties that are involved here. So I'm really looking forward to this one. When it comes down to it, I think I have to be a homer. I have to pick my guy and tell you that I'm going to be rooting for Finn Balor. And as much as I state the case that this guy needs a push and he needs to be champion, you also have to wonder if this match is even going to happen as a three-way, with The Miz expecting his first baby with Maurice. I believe the due date is either a day or maybe 2 days after WrestleMania. Baby could come early, baby could have complications, this, that, or the other. So at least with them having a three-way, it sets up the piece that if Miz has to be absent, we could still have Bálor versus Rollins, and you don't have to pull everybody off of WrestleMania. So maybe that is pretty smart of them to do that. But as a fan of all three guys, I think I'm crazy for saying this, and I think it might not happen, and my prediction might change. But as of right now, I think I'm actually rooting for The Miz to win this match and walk out with that championship belt to show how awesome this guy really is.